Imagine this. It's the early 1930s. The world is on the brink of chaos. The Great Depression is devastating economies. Tensions in Europe are rising, and whispers of war are growing louder. But then, a scientist unveils the unthinkable, a working time machine. For the first time in history, humanity can rewrite the past or glimpse the future. What happens next?
Tick-tock, past and the future collide through the decades where secrets reside. A machine, a moment, history bends. Welcome to the journey, it never ends.
Today on Did You Know, we're diving into a world where time travel becomes a reality in one of the most pivotal decades of the 20th century. Would it save humanity from disaster, or make history even more unpredictable? Stay with us, because this story will leave you questioning everything.
It never ends.
Let's start with the scientist. Picture a brilliant mind, perhaps someone like Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla, unveiling a machine capable of bending time. But this isn't just a theoretical breakthrough. It works. Governments, desperate to secure their futures, scramble to take control of this revolutionary device. Imagine the United States, Nazi Germany, and the Soviet Union competing to rewrite history in their favor. Now, let's explore the ripple effects. Imagine the time machine falling into the hands of Adolf Hitler. At this point in history, he was just coming to power, but with access to the future, he could learn exactly how to win World War II, or worse, prevent his defeat altogether. Picture Hitler sending agents to sabotage the Allied powers before the war even begins.
Tick-tock, past and the future collide through the decades where secrets reside. A machine, a moment, history bends.
Ensuring German dominance for decades to come. On the flip side, imagine the Allies gaining control of the time machine. What if they could travel back and stop Hitler before he rose to power? It sounds like a perfect solution, but here's the catch. History is messy. Removing one dictator doesn't guarantee peace. Another leader, perhaps even more dangerous, could rise in his place. But the time machine's influence wouldn't stop at politics. Think about the stock market crash of 1929. A time traveler could go back and warn investors, potentially preventing the Great Depression. Sounds great, right? But what if this intervention creates new economic challenges? Industries that thrived during the Depression, like entertainment and innovation, might never develop. Would we lose more than we gain? And then there's the question of morality. Who decides how the time machine is used? Would it become a tool for good, or a weapon of unimaginable power? Now let's shift gears and consider the scientific implications. A time machine in the 1930s would fundamentally alter how humanity views the universe. Physicists and philosophers would grapple with questions about free will, fate, and the nature of reality. Could we truly change the past, or would history find a way to correct itself? Imagine a scenario where someone travels back to prevent World War I, thinking they're saving millions of lives. But their actions unintentionally spark an even larger conflict, with deadlier consequences. It's the classic butterfly effect. Small changes can have enormous, unpredictable outcomes. And then there's the future. Imagine a government using the time machine to peek ahead, discovering future technologies and bringing them back to the 1930s. What if nuclear power is developed decades earlier? Would it lead to progress or destruction? Picture atomic weapons being deployed not in the 1940s, but in the 1930s, during a period of global instability. But what if the time machine isn't controlled by a government at all? What if it ends up in the hands of an ordinary person? Imagine a scientist using it to save their family from poverty, or a traveler trying to prevent a personal tragedy. These small human stories could have massive consequences on the larger timeline. Let's not forget about the dangers of time travel itself. In the 1930s, the concept of time paradoxes would be completely new. What happens if a traveler prevents their own birth, or creates a future so different that they can't return to it? Would the time machine become a tool of discovery, or a trap that ensnares those who use it? And here's where it gets even more fascinating. What if the invention of the time machine in the 1930s explains some of the mysteries we see today? Unexplained technological advances, strange artifacts, or even UFO sightings. Could they be the result of time travelers altering history? So, what happens if a time machine is invented during the 1930s? The truth is, it's a Pandora's box. It could save millions of lives, or create a future more chaotic than we can imagine. One thing is certain, history would never be the same.
Talk, past and the future collide through the decades where secrets reside. A machine, a moment, history bends. Welcome to the journey, it never ends.
What do you think? Would you use a time machine to change the past? Or is the risk too great? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode of Did You Know? Next up, what if the Jews became the dominant global power? A thought-provoking exploration of an alternate history that reimagines the world's balance of power. Stick around. This one's going to be fascinating.
Talk, past and the future collide through the decades where secrets reside. A machine, a moment, history bends. Welcome to the journey.